The sign that said Jesus was a Muslim.
Yes.
For me, that struck me as provocative because when Jesus was alive, Islam didn't exist yet, right? It came about in the 7th century AD with Muhammad.
So what do you understand by the term Muslim? And obviously these guys probably explained it.
For me, a Muslim is someone who tries to live their life by the teachings of Muhammad.
Okay,
right?
So Muslim linguistically means a person who submits their will to the will of the Creator.
And so that's where it gets interesting because because a Christian might also say that I submit my will to the will of the Creator. So could you say that a Christian is a Muslim as well?
Yeah. So
can you be both?
So now this is the question. So for example, the disciples of Jesus Christ, or the followers of Moses, peace upon him, who followed Moses his lifetime, etc. They were Muslims. Why? Because they were living their life according to the revelation which is given to their prophet, who was submitting his will to the will of the Father, will of the Creator. I mean, Christians call him the Father, etc. Okay. So a person who submits the will to the will of God is called a Muslim.
Okay.
So Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Noah, all of these messengers and prophets were Muslims by that definition.
Okay.
So linguistically it means, what some may think is a Muslim is a person who follows the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Or a Muslim is a person who is maybe from the Arabian Peninsula, for example. You know, of course some may assume that, okay?
Yeah.
But this is incorrect. Muslim is the one who submits their will to the will of the Creator. So that's why Jesus Christ, he is a Muslim, according to us. And we believe in him. We believe in his miraculous birth. We believe in the miracles he carried out by the permission of God. Okay? All of these things, all the miracles he did, by whose permission?
So it's like and you would put all the Abrahamic prophets in that tradition.
Absolutely.
Like, Abraham.
But the question is
Moses.
No, exactly. The question is where are you deriving your knowledge on who these people were and what they revealed? What is your source material? So Jesus Christ, we believe in him as a person who came with a message from God to guide us on how to live our lives. Okay? When God created us, do you think he just created us and left us aimlessly without any purpose?
No.
And do you think he left us without guidance so we can't achieve that purpose which you believe we have?
No, I think he did.
He gave us guidance.
Yeah, sure.
And the messengers and prophets are the carriers of this guidance from God.
Okay.
So Jesus Christ is a messenger from God. This is how we believe.
Right.
We don't
would you say that like a very devout Christian today who submits himself to God, like I don't know, Pope Francis or something, you wouldn't say that he was a Muslim?
Now, for example, now does he view Jesus Christ as a part of God?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is where we say, okay, I have to differ with you on this point because I believe God is one and he's indivisible.
Okay.
He has no parts or factions.
And you think that Jesus himself believed that?
Jesus, when he worshipped, who did he worship? If Jesus was God himself, can God have another God?
But because in the Bible, Jesus says things like he addresses God as Father. He says, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" So it sounds from the scriptures like Jesus thought that he was the Son of God and that he was a part of God.
Exactly.
Or at least that's an interpretation.
So when he says, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Now, if he was God himself, is he calling upon himself? Number one. If he was God himself, is he calling upon himself? If he was the Son of God, then there are many other sons in the Bible. Do we take them as literal sons? No, we take them as metaphorical sons. David is known as the Son of God in the Bible. He's known as his firstborn. But we don't say he's the actual Son of God. Because why? Because we say it's a metaphor.
Would you say that's the main difference between Islam and Christianity? Is the tripartite division versus in Islam it's the oneness?
Islam is the only purely monotheistic religion on the planet. So when it comes to, in terms of when we use our intellect, and our reasoning, it's up until a point. And that point is when we establish that this revelation I'm holding in my hands is from the Creator. After that point, whatever the Creator tells us about the unseen, we submit to without question. Why? Because once we establish that this is God himself speaking, then if God says there is a heaven and hell, there is angels and jinn and all of these things which exist, demons, etc., then we accept them wholeheartedly and without question. Because until that point we can say, okay, I can critique the Quran and say, well, does this deserve to be the word of God? Does it have any mistakes inside it? Does it have any contradictions inside it? Has it been preserved? Now we find equalities with the Quran and with the Bible, because we do obviously do comparative religion. Have you looked into the Bible?
Have I read the Bible? Most of it.
Now we find, unfortunately, these criteria for being the word of God are not met in the Bible. There are contradictions within the Bible. There are mistakes within the Bible.
Yeah.
And these point to the authorship of the Bible being human beings rather than God himself. Because human beings can make mistakes.
But the Old Testament was written by God, though, right? Like Genesis was written by God.
Yes. No. So the
Moses, it came down through Moses, but
so Ten Commandments. So it's a preservation of these manuscripts or this text rather.
Okay.
Now, if it was written by God, would you agree that it should be free from error?
yes,
Because God himself is all-knowing, he's perfect.
yes,
And if you were to see errors within this, would you then question this being the word of God?
yes.
And that's what we see. The Old Testament and the New Testament, there's over 100. Numerical. It's not even like subject to interpretation. It's literally numerical, clear-cut, black and white mistakes within it.
Yeah.
Have you heard them before?
Yes, I'm familiar with most of them.
Yeah.
So and for you, the Quran has none of those.
Absolutely none.
Okay.
If there was to be one, especially similar to like what we find in the Bible, then of course a Muslim would reject the Quran completely. And the Quran itself, and the preservation is different as well. The Bible, if you look at the manuscripts, number one, earliest manuscripts, at best 100 years after Jesus Christ, at best, at most 300 years for some of the other ones. The Quran was written in Arabic, was during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. One of the oldest manuscripts of the Quran is in Birmingham, which has been carbon dated to the lifetime or close to the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and it's in Birmingham. They found it in 2015, as late as that. So not just that, when they looked at the manuscript, the Arabic from I thought over 1,000 years and today is identical.
Okay. Wow.
So all these evidences, because you have to be evidence-based, like we do with every other aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
Conveniently, when it comes to religion, we tend to disengage our minds and say, well, we can never understand. Islam says, no, use those faculties that you have. And reason and find the truth. And if something makes sense to you, be sincere to yourself to believe it.
Well,
so we don't dictate anything.
It's very nice.
Rather, we say question and learn and reflect.
Well, yes, I'll have a look at this.
Would you like a Quran because you've spoken so much about it?
Sure, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I have an old copy in my house.
This is not Shakespearean English, it's normal English.
Okay.
It's one of the most accurate translations of the Quran in normal English terms, essentially.
Yeah.
So take this away with you. You have a little index at the back here.
Great.
Where you can search for certain words and or certain terms and where they appear inside the Quran. So look, we are not enemies of Christians or anything like that.
I know.
Rather, we accept Jesus Christ. All we say is, do not give him a status which he himself never gave himself, like I am God. He never said, unequivocally, I am God, and in turn worship me. He never said that. He always worshipped the Father. He always called upon the Father. If he was God, why would he say, my God and your God?
Yeah.
Why would he have his own God if he was God himself?
Yeah.
So there's these logical fallacies which come into that whole concept of the Trinity, which till this day, I assure you, we speak to a lot of Christians.
Yeah.
Till this day, and even Christians, yourself, can never square that circle.
Yeah. It's true. It's one of the mysteries, isn't it?
And a mystery is one point, but illogical is probably a more accurate term. Okay? Mystery is a convenient word to get out of it. Okay? It's completely illogical. Okay? So, for us, we work with, we've been given these minds for a reason. To use.
Yeah. No, it's very true. I agree. I agree with that. Well, it's lovely to meet you.
If I've said anything which has caused any offence, please forgive me.
No.
It's not my intention. If you have any questions, we're on Instagram, TikTok, all the rest of it. It's on the card on the inside. Pop us a message. And we're happy to sort of follow up with you there.
Great.
We're here every Saturday.